All right, the race started. Here's the start, and I chose to hit checkpoint 8 first. It was, right by the building, easy to hit. And once I got there and realized I had a bunch of headlights following me in different areas, I chose to kind of go away from the rest of or where I thought other people were going to go and head north. And as I looked at the map going north, I realized that basically checkpoint 6, checkpoint 4, checkpoint 2 all kind of lined up together. And so I head across 4 Mile on this trail, easily picking up checkpoint 6 because you could actually see this little road over here. So I knew checkpoint 6 was right there and I was still on the light. And then realized at that time I really wanted to not only hit 4 and 2, but I wanted to get up to 1 before it got really dark because this trail system, even though I've run it several times, it's very confusing. And I knew going into it, I wasn't going to use the trail system to get me to the checkpoints. If I jumped on a trail that would help me get to it, I would do that. But I didn't use the trail system to get to the checkpoints. I just used my navigation and my directional. So I hit 6 and headed north. I found this little point here and was able to just basically take a little bearing off and swing by and hit 4. And then I continued to head north on this trail until basically it stopped and you hit this greenway. I stayed away from this. I tried to stay towards the top and away from the depression, although it was a little rocky through here. But I knew also there was this boundary line here. So I kind of hugged the boundary line and stayed as high to the top as I could so that I could basically hit straight north onto 2. I knew that if I hit the orchard or I knew I was close to 2. Like if I was a little bit to the right, I knew I would still be close to checkpoint 2. So once I got to this point, I knew I was in a good place. And so from here, it's getting dark out and I'm realizing, okay, I need to get myself to 1. How am I going to do this? Am I going to take trail or am I going to just shoot across the orchard? So basically I shot through the orchard this way. I think I did pick up this trail. I think I just, I would pick up trail here and there, but really I would pick up trail just for some direction, head north on the trail, and then just continued again. I didn't take any bearings, just used my compass to kind of get me there and head north. I think I actually came around and I might have hit it. I went down a little bit, saw the lake, and then realized, okay, I need to go up a little bit to hit checkpoint 1. So I think I played a little bit in that area because I'm not too familiar with that lake up there. So that's how I got to checkpoint 1. And then I did jump to this trail just to make sure I knew I was on the trail. And then I took a bearing south and just jumped trails to head south until I saw the lake. Then once I hit the lake, I dropped into the lake so that there was a lot of brush there and I didn't want to miss the checkpoint. So I dropped into the lake and kind of followed around. There was a nice little path there. I found around and found checkpoint 3 really easy. Then going to 5. Again, now it's dark. I'm not used to being in the dark and alone trying to find checkpoints. So I decided I was going to follow things that were familiar to me, like the lake. So I followed the lake all the way around, followed the edge, realized I was hitting a trail here and took a bearing. So I did take the trail around here and then just head south, and then I don't remember staying on the trail actually. I think I just head directly south, knowing the trail was to my west, but I knew that I would run into the checkpoint if I just, Then I did, knowing a little bit about the trails in north and south, I knew that this trail would lead me out in south. So I did take this trail all the way down and through. I just ran it all the way to 5, trying to make up some time in my running. So I ran to 5, picked up checkpoint 5 or 7, pretty simple. So, and then from there on, I had the checkpoints across the street to get. And one of the things I thought about in the beginning of the route is I knew that the checkpoints in like checkpoint 9 and 10 and 11 were going to be easier for me to get. They were just basically run and get the checkpoints. I mean, the depression was kind of tough, but so I say that for last, knowing that everything north of the Beltline was going to be probably more tough to navigate in the night. So I head down the Beltline, followed the directions of the race director, and crossed at the light here, and then headed into this open space. I followed the green, not very far though. I followed the brush. I came to the brush, followed it around, just headed right down to 10, found 10, pretty simple. It was right down in a deeper depression than I thought it would be. And then I actually jumped out of the depression because, and I wanted to find this lake. Again, I was by myself, alone. I don't feel like I'm a great navigator. I wanted to use the lake as a reference point. So I came out, found the lake, and then again ducked back down into 11. And once I found 11, then I actually bushwhacked and headed out to the Beltline because I knew the Beltline. I'm familiar with it. So headed out to Beltline West to get myself out. Headed north. I wanted to jump across the Beltline, but the race director told us we couldn't do that. So to get 9, so I headed north across the Beltline, and then actually I hugged the Beltline. There was a little kind of grass clearing there. Hugged the Beltline, and then once I came to the green where the orchards end and the trees began, I just head in. And there ended up being a little track there. So I headed in a track. And once I felt comfortable, I dove in and looked for the checkpoint, and there was 9. So found 9, and then basically it was a straight shot north back to the finish.